Some time ago, Paradox announced ModJam2022, a competition in which modders were challenged to create a unique mid-game crisis. 13 submissions have been released, with each one taking a different approach at the topic. I'm Michael, and today we're gonna take a closer look at some of these submissions and walk through each crisis to see how they progress. Before we do that, however, let's talk about the ModJam launcher first. The ModJam launcher adds new ways of spawning ModJam crises. You can choose whether you want a single crisis to spawn, allow them to appear consecutively in 5 to 10 years after you solved one, or allow them to spawn every 15 years even without solving a crisis. You can also select which crisis should or should not spawn, and also make sure to put the ModJam mod below all of these submissions to make it work correctly. Now that we covered the launcher, let's see what modders have in store for us. We're starting off with Prime Flesh by Everal, which revolves around a new Hivemind faction. The crisis starts after 3 wormholes connected to a nearby satellite galaxy have appeared. At the same time, an unknown vessel is going to visit your capital, asking you to donate some energy to help restore their kind's colony. If you agree, you will get a special project which allows you to study the said galaxy, and upon completion you will find out that inside it lies an unknown Hivemind heavily damaged in a recent war. The Prime Flesh will eventually establish communications, and you may interact with it in various ways. They have 2 parameters, growth and patience. Growth increases their feat strength and is acquired over time. Patience, on the other hand, represents their willingness to attack. It decreases at a rate based on the hyperlane distance from the flesh to other alien empires, and once it reaches 0 they will turn hostile. To delay the inevitable, you may give tributes to the flesh, or you can help out the Hive by declaring wars in their name with a new casus belli, and with each captured planet their patience increases. Before their patience drops to 0, they're gonna ask you to give them a tribute, or else they will attack. You will receive a notification once the Prime Flesh begins to mobilize. The flesh will also distribute pathogens and influence your pops to start calls to wear you down. You can keep on fighting, or you may surrender by giving away your capital for assimilation. You have 2500 days to reclaim it before it turns into a hive world and its population gets assimilated by the hive. As the hive's growth reaches 100, they will declare a war on everyone in the galaxy, and there will be no option for negotiating peace. To stop the crisis, you must capture the Hivemind's homeworld called Solas Vides, and if you do so, you can deal with the Prime Flesh in 2 ways. You can destroy them, or turn them into a vassal. If you destroy them, a special project will become available that will allow you to unlock their weapons. The remains of the Hive will also turn rogue, so you'll have to deal with them separately. In both cases, you emerge victorious. As a reward, you get a new relic, and a parade will also be held to celebrate your victory. If the hive continues to spread uninterrupted, after a while it will start acting strange. Some of their fleets will go rogue, causing them to fight one another, and their newer fleets will be weaker than the older ones. Eventually the Prime Flesh is going to collapse, as their neural network will not be able to keep itself together. Their colonies will be obliterated, and their fleets will turn into rogue remnants. If you decided to declare a war on the Prime Flesh earlier, you will have the opportunity to study them and get some useful benefits. As you progress further through the new situation, you will learn about their weaknesses and bioplasma weaponry. In the end, you will acquire a new trait which can be applied to your population, and an opportunity to vassalize the hive after researching a special project. If you like the mod so far, I also recommend you take a look at Solarstorm, made by the same author, which also adds in a new crisis. The next crisis on the list is a bit different, as it's more economic in nature and there is no real enemy to defeat. Interdimensional Crate by Jasonpepe revolves around a mysterious crate that all of a sudden bypasses your security sensors. As you study the crate further and you open a note attached to it, the crisis will officially begin, and a new situation will appear which shows the progression of the crisis. The crate will drain your resources by drastically lowering their monthly gain. It will also randomly steal them, swap them between different countries, and cause pirates to appear. It may also spawn a time bomb, which is going to explode and annihilate your colonies if you don't move it somewhere else. The crate is also going to become more and more unstable as time goes by, nearby, and in order to stabilize it, you will need to either spend some of your resources, assault it, or attach the crate to your industrial districts. You may also do nothing, but I wouldn't really encourage that. You can carry on with the crisis, or if you had enough, you can end it once and for all by putting the crate in a quarantine if you have the opportunity to do so. The crate may also show you some mercy from time to time by giving you resources or by spawning a titan filled with treasures. Once you reach the final stage, the crate will go back to its original dimension and you will receive a random reward for your persistence in beating the crisis. Also, Jasonpepe is a creator behind many amazing mods, so make sure to check them out on Steam. Moving on, we have the Harvest Engine Crisis by Archaeon and Dunno. The engine spawns inside of a previously unknown system called Midas. The engine's fleets will travel across the galaxy and place beacons on planets with valuable resources to guide the main fleet with the Harvester engine, which is going to harvest them for said resources. This also includes habitable planets, which turn into barren inhospitable worlds once the harvest is over. You have to stop the engine as fast as you possibly can, since the harvested resources are going to be used for creating new fleets. To help you out with monitoring the crisis, there is a new tab in the situation log which displays the amount of harvested planets, active beacons, etc. Immediately after the crisis spawns, a new situation will start in which you can contribute a chosen amount of your research. As you progress through the situation, you will get damage bonuses to the engine, and at stage 3 you will have an opportunity to communicate and possibly shut down the engine, although the latter is not the case. As it turns out, the AI behind the engine is surprisingly sentient. You will speak with Shiva, the AI commanding the Harvest engine, and you may contact her at any time to find out more information about the engine. At stage 4 you will unlock the Harvester laser, and at stage 5 you get more advanced Harvester components. As you fight the Harvester engine's fleets, you have a chance of capturing a remote command uplink, which allows you to take advantage of the captured fleet. You may scrap it for alloys, or you can hack its system to bring it on your side. You're also able to reboot the drones and leave them as a blockade. To end the crisis, you have to track down the Harvester engine and then destroy it in combat. As a reward, you get a new relic which allows you to contact Shiva for assistance. You can ask her for a fleet of Harvester drones led by a level 5 admiral or a level 5 governor, or perhaps the ability to harvest a planet for resources. Coming up next, we have Storm Cluster by sirblackaxe, which is all about exploring previously unknown reaches of the cosmos. The crisis starts after a space storm appears. You might think it's just ordinary space weather, but you're completely wrong. Sometime after, you will detect various subspace fluctuations and new wormholes will appear, all of which lead to a new extragalactic cluster. You instantly get the wormhole stabilization technology, and if you're lucky enough to find a wormhole that leads to the storm cluster, you may start exploring this uncharted region of extragalactic space. Inside you will find a bunch of different things, such as habitable planets, ruined megastructures, and special systems like Sol or Federation's End. At the center you're gonna encounter a fanatic pacifist fallen empire calmly residing on a relic world. You also need to be wary, as you cannot view nearby systems with sensors, so you have to be prepared for facing hostile entities. Also, the storm cluster generates differently each time, so you'll never know what you're gonna encounter. The next mod we have on the list is Cybrex Resurgence by cookiemonster. This mod adds a Cybrex mid-game crisis to the game, which expands the Precursor's lore even further. It begins after investigating a mysterious Cybrex signal that appears randomly within your territory. Soon you will witness other strange phenomena occurring all over your nation, and once they're studied you're gonna receive a transmission from the Cybrex itself, and they will not be very friendly. To defeat the Cybrex you must reach their home system called Cybrex Gamma, to which you will receive coordinates. The Resurgence at the start has a single 100k military power fleet, but over time they will get reinforcements in form of 2 additional waves, with the second one being the strongest. After you defeat the Cybrex, you will be able to research 3 new Cybrex based techs, which offer some useful bonuses. You can also research the Terraforma special project, which will unlock the Cybrex Machine World's Ascension perk. With it, the Cybrex Machine World in Cybrex Gamma will become suitable for colonization. And last but not least, we have Throng by MadeInCanada, who's also the author of Empires Expanded. The crisis revolves around a mysterious plague, which starts after you receive a report of widespread fatigue and nausea plaguing one of your colonies. Soon, infected pops will begin to display signs of hostility, causing crime to rise up in your colony. As As you take a closer look at the infected population, you will discover that an unknown parasite has taken control over some of your pops, and all infected pops will be marked with the Crimson Infected trait. This is also the moment where you will be able to deal with the Crimson Plague, and a new situation is going to start, in which you can decide whether you want to devote resources to research, enforce restrictions, or contain the infected population. The plague will also affect other empires in the galaxy. Soon, other species will experience similar symptoms, and the plague will continue to spread faster and faster as time goes on. To monitor the spread of the plague, you can visit the situation log, and each time the plague spreads onto another world, you will receive a notification. To better deal with the plague, you can use two decisions. Hunt down the afflicted starts a global hunt for infected pops, and it can be used once a year. Introduce lockdown enables global restrictions, which increase your plague spread prevention at the cost of increased pop upkeep and lowered amenities. This can also be done with a new edict, which automatically introduces lockdowns on all your worlds. A new policy is also available, which determines your approach to the plague. The plague will slowly spiral out of control as parasite-controlled pops will rebel and try to conquer their home. If they manage to succeed, you must quickly recapture the lost planet, otherwise it will be transformed into an afflicted world covered by a single parasitic organism. Other events might also occur. Your population will be either happy or dissatisfied with the handlement of the pandemic. Your president might get infected, your fleets and starbases might get taken over, and so on. All of a sudden you will receive a mysterious signal originating from the Crimson Throng, an unknown civilization which claims that you're assaulting their people. Later your researchers will express interest in studying the origins of the Throng, and a special project will appear in a system with similar interference. You can find more information about the Throng's origin in a new archaeological site, which later gives you a special project revealing coordinates to an unknown system with additional details about the plague. With these two projects finished, you will detect a faint signal, and this transmission will give you some additional insight into the parasite's origin. In the meantime, as the parasite research situation progresses, you're gonna learn more about the plague, and at its final stage you will be given two technologies required to develop the cure further. Once you research them, a new situation about the cure will start, and once it's over, only a special project will keep you away from developing the cure. Yet another situation, this time about spreading the cure, will appear, and after a year the plague will be cured, and if any species still has the Crimson Infected trait, you may use a new edict to get rid of it. Since now you have the cure, you may decide whether you want to share it with the galaxy, distribute it amongst your allies, or keep it to yourself and let the galaxy suffer. If you have the Colossus, the orbital purifier will become available to research, and this new Colossus weapon allows you to revert afflicted worlds back to their original state. Immediately after you use the weapon, the Crimson Throng's home system will be located, and if you make it to the Xur system, a special project called the Final Confrontation will be revealed. Upon completion, a communication channel will be established with the Crimson Throng's queen, and you will be able to ask her about her origins and defeat her once and for all. This concludes the mid-game crisis. All afflicted worlds will go back to normal, hijacked ships will be destroyed, and a special project will be available for non-immune empires. As a reward, you also get the Throng Queen's Synapse, which unlocks a new decision that boosts your happiness and resource production. You may also choose to spare the Queen and negotiate a treaty, in which the Throng cease their hostile activities and are forced to move on to another world. Make sure to subscribe to not miss the second part, in which I will talk about the remaining crises. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to go check out my other mod related content, and if you have any ideas for mod showcase videos, or if you have noticed any inaccuracies, leave them down in the comments. I'll see you again in the second part of the video, and goodbye!